Okay, finally it's the weekend and I can spend some time labbing Eggy Gordo, see how they've changed this character, what new additions they've given him. Through all the trailers and the videos they released, we know that they've given him a new power-up stance sort of a thing. So I'm really excited to explore everything that is included in that package. Eddy looks really slick in this main menu. I really like the new redesign, especially the hair. I know a lot of people didn't like the hair, but we've already had a huge catastrophe with related to hairs. I don't think it doesn't matter what they do from now on. Nothing is going to be as bad as Paul's hair. The defaults look really slick. They look really good, especially the third one. I really like the third one. I do. His base two colors are good, but the third one, this really, I think this really looks really good. The purple looks really good on him. I'm going to go over all the moves they've given Eddy. Most of the kit should remain similar to the previous games, but let's see how much DLC power he got in this one. 1-3 is his 10 frame punish. Probably go to 10 frame punish, 1-3 into Negativa. He can also go into the banana stance from his 1-2 and just holding forward. This gets him into his Bananeira. I'm just going to call it the banana stance. You only want to go into 1-2 into the banana stance if you have your margarita stacks, right? If you have these stacks, then you have a decent low option, a powerful low option from the banana stance. 3+4 gives you this option, and if you have two stacks, then this becomes a hell sweep, a non-launch punishable hell sweep, because watch this. Right, on block this is -13. So if you have stacks, then sure, go for this option, but I think for most cases 1-3 into Negativa is a lot more powerful option here. 2-3 is the 12 frame punish that shifts you automatically into the banana stance. 9 more points of damage than 1-3 for 10 frame punish. However, the banana stance is better if you have the margarita stacks, as discussed before. 3-3 is the better version of his 12 frame punish in 2-3, but it only jails on counter hit. The advantage being it has much longer range than 2-3. Eddy in general has very stubby arms, very short range jabs, so whenever you can, if you're playing in the neutral, having tools that can shift him into stances with longer range are a good option to keep an eye out for. Eddy does not have a 10 frame heat engager like most other characters. Instead, what he has is 4-4, which is a counter hit heat engager at 13 frames. Which means pressing fast buttons against this character isn't going to be as bad, except you have to keep an eye out for his evasive moves, which from what I've seen so far, he doesn't have that many of. His stance transition, especially into his banana stance, is the only most evasive thing. Other than that, from this stance he has some evasive options, but other than that he doesn't have really fast or long reaching options. For example, his fastest heat engager is at 13 frames. 1+2 is another move to keep an eye out for. Essentially, it is slow, 20 frames to come out, but is neutral on block, which means this can frame trap you if you're not careful. Right, something like that. If you press buttons at neutral, you can, if you pressed any buttons faster than slower than 13 frames, then you might get caught there, or you might let Eggy Gordo go into his stances with a counter hit. So you need to be at least conscious about this move. Doesn't have the best range, but on counter hit, this move forces the opponent to crouch with 13 frames, which means Eddy gets his crouching heat engager throw for free. Just like Dragonov, Eddy now has a crouching grab, which is a heat engager. So just like Dragonov's 4-3 on counter hit, if Eddy hits 1+2 on counter hit, he gets the throw for free. Forward 2-4 is a decent long range round ender which gives you +2 on hit for the low, and on counter hit, if the low hits counter hit on its own, then it gives you a bounded launch. Forward 3-4 is a standard high homing move with the only thing that makes this move stand out is the mid follow-up and the fact that you can transition into the banana stance. Other than that, this is -5 if the first hit is blocked and -11 if both hits are blocked. This is a decent option to stop people from stepping at 18 frames, but the actual homing move that you would probably use with Eggy Gordo is up forward 4. So this move, even though it's much slower, it is safe and does send you into Negativa on hit. Forward 4, 3+4 no longer launches. This used to be his go-to scrub killer move, and it has been nerfed significantly for lower levels. I don't think anyone was getting caught by this on higher levels, but this was the bane of existence for a lot of low level ranked matches. However, it depends. It does give you a free follow-up in 3+4, and if you wake up incorrectly, if you use any of the attack options, it does relaunch you. So you have to be very careful with how you wake up against this character. 3+4 appears to be fully guaranteed after forward 4 3+4, but you can avoid the relaunch by not pressing any buttons once you've been knocked down with this move, or rolling on the ground and seeing how the Eddy player responds. Forward 3+4 is a move I thought would be much better when I first saw Eddy's promotional material, but after going through this move, it's not really that powerful. The only real power this move has is the amount of range this move has. That's really good. Other than that, it's a 19 frame heat engager that's -9 on block, so it's not plus on block. It doesn't evade highs. All it gives you is a heat engager. It does give you a launch if you're already in heat, but other than that, this move really doesn't have a lot going for it. It's a move that can easily be interrupted for a floating combo, and a move that can very easily be stepped in either direction. So not a great move, but definitely has its own situational uses. Eddy's down forward 1 is definitely below average, very stubby range, and a +6 on hit and -3 on block. It does have a high follow-up in down forward 1-3, but you'll probably never see it outside of combos. No traditional down forward 2, even on counter hit, does not launch. However, Eddy does have a down forward 3, which launches at 15 frames. But it has the disadvantage of being -18, so launch punishable, but down forward, a non-traditional down forward 2 he does have. Eddy now has a Dragonov style plus on block hatchet kick, down back 3, but this does come out at 28 frames, so not as good. Instead, all of his different low options that he has, the best one for neutral gameplay will probably just be down 3, just because of its range and the +1 that it has, and also the fact that it goes under highs reliably will definitely make this the go-to low for Eddy players. However, keep in mind that both of these options, the down back 3 and the down 3, are both launch punishable at -14. Down back 3 on counter hit does give you a guaranteed quad circle forward 3 as well. Another noteworthy load Eddy has is down back 2-3. Although it doesn't jail on normal hit, it does on counter hit bound the opponent for a bounded combo, and it at the same time it goes under highs pretty reliably. So if I set the dummy to do the move, and you can see forward 3, which is a high, this move will reliably go under the move, or I can just jab here after, and you can see the move going under the highs reliably. So this is another noteworthy option that Eddy has. The big downside to this is that both the down back 1 and the full move down back 1 3 are both launch punishable at -18. So if Eddy player tries to abuse this move, make sure you punish them as hard as you can. Down back 4-4 is the first move we've gotten, which gives you a Mandinga level increase. I'm just going to keep calling it the Margarita stacks because that's much easier. But this should serve as your combo enders. Moves like these that give you these Margarita stacks should be your combo enders until you have the 2 stacks. So you can't get any more than 2 stacks, and once you've gotten the stacks, as far as I can see, there is no way to lose the stacks either. Once you have these stacks, you have them for the whole round. They refresh on the start of the next round, but as long as you've gotten these stacks, you will be able to take advantage of them in your banana stance. When you start your round and you don't have any Margarita stacks, just end your combos with a down back 4-4, and that will give you the Margarita stacks. 2 are the maximum number you can get. Any more than that and you can't get them, and the properties do change slightly on the moves. Back 3-3 has to be Eddy's one of most iconic moves, at least for myself. A mid counter hit launching option that can also serve as a combo filler. Unfortunately, the range on this move is very stubby and is -14 on block, so not a great neutral tool, but still this move for some reason has always been a very Eggy Gordo move for myself. Although back 4-4-3 is a high mid option that leaves you at +4, this really isn't a neutral tool because there are too many defensive options against this if you're playing against a high level character. So let's talk about the defensive options first and then discuss what this move is actually for. So defensively, not only can this move easily be floated out, if you recognize the animation, you can easily float the opponent, but it can also be easily stepped. You can see how easy it is for me to step and launch. So you can only step in one direction. You can't really step in both, but it is quite easy to step and punish. So instead, what this move is actually used for is the wall combo. So let's discuss Eddy's wall combo here, or at least the option that I have been going for, which is after the wall splat. If you have not consumed your bound, then you can go for a down forward 1-3 to bound the opponent, or you can go for a down back 2 into 3, which is the option that I usually go for. After that, you go for the back 443 because the last hit of back 443 gives you an unscaled ender. So that's what the whole combo should look like. But you can mix and match various options here. Quad circle forward 3 will also bound the opponent onto the wall. And then you can go for different options for the wall combo if you don't want to go for back 443 and instead you want to go with something a full combo, then you can also go for back 2 3 3. This will also give you a full combo at 65 damage. That's also an option, but no no unscaled options here. Armored moves in an aggressive game like Tekken 8 are really valuable, so even though Eddy doesn't have a really great armored move, do keep note of the back 3+4 move, which is a -7 on block high heat engager that also has armor. So not the best armored move in the game, but still a noteworthy option for if you're playing Eddy. 443 is a decent approach tool for Eddy because it leaves Eddy at +6 in Negativa, the situation that he really wants to be in. But it is a -13 on block move, so you need to be careful not to abuse this move too much. Also, it is very easy to step, very linear, very easy to step in either direction. Like most other approach tools in this game, this is extremely linear and 13 frames punishable. So do be careful about that, but other than that, this is a decent approach tool. Kind of not the best range either, but if you do get in, then the situation is definitely favorable for Eddy. For the sake of completion, let's talk about the options Eddy has after he approaches you with this mix-up. So if he does get in on you and you're the defensive player, Eddy has multiple options. He can go for a 50-50 mix-up with a hell sweep or a mid launcher, but the fastest of the two is the hell sweep, which starts at 16 frames. So your down jab will trade with this, and the mid option will just lose to your down jab. So down jab might seem like a good option there, but in reality, Eddy has 4-3, which is his heat engager, which comes out in 15 frames. So you will your down jab will actually lose to this if you go for that option. Let's just quickly revise this, look at how this works. If we go for if Eddy goes for the mid option, then our down jab will actually break it. But if he goes for the low option, then the down jab will trade with it. So what Eddy can go for here is his 15 frame heat engager, which will definitely win against your down jab. If I'm trying to down jab here, but Eddy's heat engager is going to win every single time. But the downside to that is that it is -13. You can see it leaves you at -13, at +13. So you can punish Eddy accordingly. So those are the options Eddy has once he does get in on you. Let's talk about Eddy's crouching state, and the first move he gets from his crouching state is a better version of his back 3-3. The while standing 1-3 is just a better version of back 3-3 simply because it launches on normal hit, unlike back 3-3, which requires a counter hit to launch. Although the move is -14 on block and isn't the highest damaging launcher, it's still nice to have a 13 frame launcher nonetheless. While Rising 2 is his highest damaging launcher from the While Rising state, however, it is very punishable at -18. While Rising 3 is his long range option, long range launcher from the crouching state, also can be performed using quad circle forward 3. I don't think there is a difference between the damage or the frames between the two input methods, but the quad circle forward method can be done from the standing state, so that's the only difference. So when you're going for combo bound with this move, you would probably go for quad circle forward 3 move. Still punishable, although not launch punishable, -13, but is a decent move if the opponent is at a distance and you need to launch them. Eddy has a full crouch mix-up from his crouching state between full crouch down forward 3 and full crouch down forward 4. The low and mid options are there for you to mix up the opponent whenever you're in the crouching state, and there are a ton of different moves that render Eddy in the crouching state, that shift him to the crouching state. For example, his 13 frame heat engager shifts him into the crouching state. So from here you can enact your full crouch mix up, or back one, for example, leaves Eddy in the crouching state, so you can go for that mix up as well. The mid option from his full crouch mix up is a plus on block, +6 on block, counter hit launching option, right? So you can, and it shifts you into Negativa automatically. So you can continue the combo from there. And the low option, even though the low option might seem underwhelming at first because it doesn't guarantee anything, but because it leaves you in the banana stance, that means that this move is really powerful if you have the margarita stacks like I have right here. So let's quickly talk about the margarita stacks, because the only move affected by the only situation affected by the margarita stacks is whenever Eddy is in his banana stance. When Eddy has a single stack of margarita and he goes into his banana stance from any by doing any move, he has access to a really powerful hell sweep that, even though it does jail on block, it doesn't knock down the opponent. And he also has access to another move, back 4, which is plus hit and forces the opponent to crouch on hit, but on block it's a +6 on block, so it's a plus move, and can shift you into Negativa if you hold down. Once you have these stacks, whenever you go into your banana stance, these two extremely powerful options will always be available to Eddy. So you just have to activate this twice, and then you have a really powerful stance. Next, let's talk about Eddy's sidestep options, where Eddy has only three built-in options. One is Sidestep 3, which is a very simple mid, does not give you anything extra on counter hit, and is completely neutral in on block. Puts you in Negativa, so this is a good way to sidestep into an option for Eddy. The next is Sidestep 4, which is a 2-hitting low, which is not safe at -13 and does not give you any serious advantage on counter hit as well. The only real option, or the only powerful option Eddy has from his sidestep, is Sidestep 3+4. This option is a normal hit launcher and can give you a full combo. Sidestep 3+4 is completely safe on block at -7, and it's usually used as his go-to keep out option. Let's talk about Eddy's stances before we go into the next section, and let's start with the banana stance. If we go into this stance after punishing the opponent, you shouldn't go into these stances raw unless you're evading something. You have a very solid read and you're going to evade something. Going into these stances raw isn't the best option because Eddy can't defend himself when in these stances. So he has to be aggressive, and if you go in with large amount of frames, that's the only real way to get in there and have and continue your pressure. So the first option is banana 1, which on block gives you +5 and sends you into Negativa Stance. The +5 is really good because at the best option Eddy has from Negativa is a 15 frame startup. So at best it's going to trade with that option, but you're completely safe. All the other options that Eddy has are slower than this, so you have to know if you're going into this option, you need to either have trained the opponent to sit still so you can enforce your mix-up, or just go with this option and understand that you can be down jabbed out of it. The other good option Eddy has is his 333, which is an evasive option. So if the opponent is too button happy, you can press these buttons, but it does make sure that you are going to catch the opponent in counter hit so that you can go in with a frame advantage. Otherwise, if this move gets blocked, right, it's -5 and you're in Negativa, you are going to get punished really hard for this. So make sure that if the opponent is too button happy and you know that they're going to press a high option, you can counter hit them for a massive advantage into Negativa mix-ups. 4-2 is Eddy's fastest option from Banana Stance at 12 frames, and on counter hit this does launch the opponents, but do keep in mind that this option is negative on block, -13. So even though this is the fastest option, if you expect the opponent to press buttons, the evasive option would be much better, because even after the all three hits, it's at least still safe. You're in Negativa, so you have to immediately go for a safer option. In Negativa, you can obviously switch from Negativa to you can switch between Negativa and the banana stances just by pressing the sidestep buttons. So even if you go in with the negative frames, you might be able to avoid any of the offense that the opponent tries to go with. So other than that, Eddy has access to 2 more defensive options, very situational, and go for these options only if you have a solid read. Is 1+2, which is an armored move, and a back 3, which is a backswing low option. So go for these options if you know that you are safe, because these are punishable, both of them, -12. So do be careful not to throw these options out blindly, but situationally you have access to these tools as well. So next, let's talk about the Negativa Stance, which you can go into manually by pressing down 3+4. From Negativa, you have a bunch of different options, like you have a full-on hell sweep, which can be mixed up with a launching mid option. Although both options are launch punishable, the hell sweep on block gives you a stagger, and the mid option is -18, very easy to launch punish. But there are other options we have. For example, a low option with a mid follow-up in 1-3, or a mid-high mid option in 2-4-4, where the first 2 hits can be cancelled into Negativa on hit at +10, or on block at +3. And finally, there's a 4-3, which is his fastest option at 15 frame startup, and is a heat engager, a normal hit heat engager. So this is a very go-to option for Eddy if the opponent is button happy. If they are mashing too much, you can probably get this heat engager on hit, but Do make sure not to get this option blocked, because otherwise you're going to get punished for a -13, right? So overall, Negativa is a very powerful stance. A lot of really scary mix-ups, a lot of ways to continue your pressure while staying in Negativa. A lot of different options for both mid and high, and also you can go for a 1+2 grab, up forward 1+2 from the Negativa stance itself. So a bunch of different options you have, but all of them, most of them leave yourself vulnerable. So this is a stance that you have to be very careful with when you mix the opponent up. So next, let's talk about the heat system and how that affects Eddy Gordo. When Eddy's in heat, he gets access to two completely new moves that he doesn't have access to otherwise, and both of them are really powerful. The first one is 3+4, which launches the opponent in a bounded state, and on block is +9 and leaves you in the banana stance for mix-up. And the second one is quad circle forward 4, which doesn't launch the opponent but is +9 into Negativa mix-up. And the last thing you should know about Eddy's heat state is that his heat smash, if his heat smash gets blocked, then it leaves Eddy in Negativa at +6. So be very careful, be ready for Negativa mix-ups as soon as you block Eddy's heat smash. Finally, let's talk about the high-level concept of how you would counter this character, how you would play against him if you're versing him in a real matchup, and my final thoughts on the character, and then we can wrap up this video. Basically, I think this character doesn't have a good neutral. Instead, he will live and die by his stances. So Eddy is exactly what he used to be. His Margarita stacks seem like they would be really powerful, but they aren't. They just buff up his banana stance, and they buff the banana stance in a way that it's just more mix-ups, right? Even though it makes Eddy a bit more safer, it doesn't really doesn't change Eddy's game plan or doesn't change how you would counter this character much, right? So the main thing you should be doing against this character is this applies to all the gimmicky characters. This isn't just for Eddy. This applies for Xiaoyu. This applies for Yoshimitsu. All the gimmicky character. Even I used to, my secondary main was Lei Wulong, and this would be 100% true for Lei Wulong as well. Is that you let these characters kill themselves. You just patiently wait. I know it's difficult for a lot of people to, if you're new to fighting games, the expectation is you press buttons, because when you play against your friends you mash buttons and it works, but online against better players it's not going to. So you have to be a lot more patient, and characters with these sorts of gimmicks, they are designed to capitalize on the fact that people press too many buttons. So all you have to do against characters like these is block, and almost everything they do is punishable. A lot of it is punishable. But looking at Eddy, he does have ways to weave in and out of his stances and constantly be mixing you up, constantly stay in your face, mix you up, constantly go into his Negativa stance, and constantly keep you guessing what option you're going to go for. But that's just Eddy, that's Xiaoyu, that's Yoshimitsu. That would apply to all of those characters. That would apply to Lei Wulong. That would apply to any character that relies on their gimmicks more than anything else. So you have to be patient. You have to lab these characters. Characters like Eddy usually aren't very popular, so you don't see them a lot. If you play against them a lot, then it becomes really easy to counter them, simply because you learn what moves are punishable, what different options they have. That's why I made this whole video going over the entire character, because with gimmicky characters like these, you absolutely need to lab them. You have to lab them, otherwise they will run over you. Because if you don't know what options Eddy has through, when he's in Negativa, or if you don't know when he goes into Negativa where he has how much frame advantage, if you don't know those things, how are you going to punish him? How are you going to counter this character? You're not. So hopefully you've learned something and figured out how to counter this character. Another good point is that he is very linear. I didn't mention this in the move list review part, but both his full crouch mix-ups, the low and the mid option, are extremely linear. So let me set it up. Yeah, right. I can step both of these options in any direction I want. So this character, even though he might seem like he has really scary mix-ups or whatever, but as long as he doesn't have the frame advantage to back his mix-ups, he's really not that scary. This is one part. His he's also very punishable, so you have to keep that in mind as well. That's the one thing that destroys Eddy and gimmicky characters like this is patience, and that's what I think his entire move list is suggesting, that if you just block and you do some level of training against characters like this, Eddy won't be much of a problem. However, just as final thoughts, wrapping it all up, I had a concern that uh, in Tekken we have a history of DLC characters being buffed enormously so that the devs can make their extra cash. Unfortunately, Eddy is not overtuned. That's what I was afraid of. But the reality is he really isn't overtuned. The way they presented him was very marketing term based. Like they presented him in a way that new scrubby players would really love him. Like he would give them some extra form of advantage. That's absolutely not the case. If you're better at this game, then no one can just pick up Eggy Gordo and roll over you like they could, unfortunately, with Leroy Smith or Fakum Ram on release. So that's not the case here. So that's a really, really good thing. I think Eddy's design is absolutely perfect. His gameplay is very, very capoeira, very his own style, his own personality. The Margarita gimmick is fine. It feels a very safe design, right? It feels like they were afraid that they could overtune that, and Margarita could have definitely been overtuned. There's no doubt. They went with a very safe option where they've made his stance a little better and his mix up a little more scarier if he gets those stacks. But in order to get those stacks, he has to work for it. So there is a form of balance in there. So my final thoughts are that this is a really good first DLC release, and let's hope we keep getting better characters like this. Let's hope we get. I am hoping for Le Wulong because I love that character. I love Bob. I love Anna. Those characters that I used to keep as secondary or tertiary for myself. I used to main back in Tekken 7. I really wish those characters come back. But even other than those, if other characters release with the amount of polish and the amount of work put into them as they have released Eddy, I think that's the best case scenario. So in any case, thank you so much for watching the video. If I was a content creator, I guess I would have asked you to like or subscribe at this point, but since I'm not, I'm just a random guy making videos about this game just because I love this game. If you've watched to this point, I'll just thank you for it, and maybe leave a comment. That's something that really makes my day. I love reading through the comments and just interacting with you guys, interacting with other guys who love this game as much as I do. That's the perfect reason why I make these videos. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.